Go.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Saloni Narula Khanna. I am a research scholar, and today I am presenting on compatibility as a ground of divorce by mutual consent in India. This is the outline of my work, and I am beginning with the introduction. As we all know, marriage is the instrument which binds two persons into an eternal bond, whereas divorce is that device which unties the two persons from the entire legal status, duties, and responsibilities of a matrimonial relationship. It, in a way, dissolves the bond of matrimony. Before 1955, there was there. I'm sorry. Before 1955, Hindu Marriage Act was not enacted. But as the society progressed, complexities arose in the society, and at most of the times, it was felt that either the husband or a wife was troubled by the irrational behavior of their spouses. And in order to remedify that situation, Hindu Marriage Act 1955 was enacted, and it provides for two kinds of divorce. First one is the contested divorce. This divorce is dealt in Section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act. It is that form of divorce where one party alleges the another party on certain grounds. And in this form of divorce, one party of desire is desirous of termination of the marriage and another party is not. Second one is the divorce by mutual consent. This provision was not initially present in the Hindu Marriage Act. It was added in 1976, and a separate provision known as section 13b was added. The advantage which a person gets by entertaining this kind of divorce is that the couple is saved from the tiresome and lengthy procedure of a contested divorce. Only some conditions are required to be fulfilled, that are both spouses must live separately for at least 1 year. Both spouses feel that they cannot live together. Both the husband and wife mutually agree that their marriage has collapsed. Both parties agree to comply and file jointly for a mutual divorce without any undue influence, bribe, or fraud. In a way, divorce by mutual consent is that form of divorce where couple mutually agree to terminate their matrimonial relationship. We live in a democratic country where both men and women are entitled to fundamental rights, justice, equalities, and various liberties. Supreme Court in the case law of Menka Gandhi versus Union of India has held that Article 21 of the Constitution not only guarantees the right to life, but it also guarantees the right to live with dignity. Therefore, Article 21 of the Constitution protects, it ensures the security to women at their matrimonial home. Further, Article 142 of the Constitution allows Supreme Court to pass any order for doing complete justice. It is the inherent power which the Supreme Court has, and it has dissolved many marriages by exercising its power, as the court is of the view that it is completely pointless to force the marriages only on papers. Also, in the case law of R. Srinivas Kumar versus R. Shamita, the court has held that where the marriage is totally broken, there is no scope of reconciliation. The marriage should be deemed to be broken down irretrievably. Consequently, court has also suggested to add the irretrievable breakdown of marriage as a separate count of divorce under Section 13 of the Hindu Marriage Act. As I have discussed earlier, before 1955, there was no act, no law which regulated divorce. Divorce was regulated through the customs, and irretrievable breakdown of marriage is one of the theory which govern the divorce. Now, the compatibility. Compatibility is the new development, it is the latest development, I must say, in the field of divorce, as it has been concluded in many researches that cruelty, desertion, and harassment used to account for 2 out of 3 divorce cases earlier. But in the last years, compatibility has been cited as a cause of divorce in majority of the cases. This compatibility is of 4 kinds. First one is the physical compatibility. In order to sustain any relationship, physical attraction is a must. Second is the emotional compatibility. The two people must be able to understand and express each other's feelings very well. Then is the intellectual compatibility. The couple should be able to respect each other's intelligence, their career choices, their desires and aspirations. And last is the eternal compatibility. It is also known as spiritual compatibility, where the couple shares the same vision. Now, this is my literature review. Firstly, Salai Varun has opined that Indian law does not recognize no fault divorce. Only Supreme Court recognizes this concept, but with a different name known as irretrievable breakdown of marriage. Then Melissa Henning has provided the brief about her. She has explained that what is the divorce based on incompatibility. Kavita Chaudhary has also highlighted that irretrievable breakdown of marriage should be added to the existing causes of the divorce. Angel Chacon, uh, she has talked about that what are the various issues which lead a couple to divorce on the ground of incompatibility. Then Hiki Kohal, he has differentiated between compatible and incompatible relationships. Now, statement of the problem. As I have discussed earlier, today in this complex time, procedure regarding divorce have been simplified, and divorce by mutual consent is a very popular tool to end the strained relationships quickly. Therefore, compatibility issues among the couple should be properly defined. Therefore, there is a requirement of incorporating a provision relating to compatibility to Section 13B of the Hindu Marriage Act 1955. Now, what is the significance of the study? As as I have discussed earlier, divorce by mutual consent is a very popular tool to end the to end the strained relationships quickly. Also, it is this kind of divorce is based upon the consent theory of divorce, which says that parties to a marriage are as free to dissolve a marriage as they are to enter it. It falls into the no fault category of divorce, but there is no formal provision regarding regulating the compatibility issues. Therefore, law on the point should be specific, and law should adapt and grow with the growth in the society. Then research methodology. Here I have employed doctrinal legal research methodology, wherein I have done library study by using both primary and secondary sources of data. Also, legal doctrines, laws, and judicial pronouncements on the points are also being analyzed. Lastly, I would like to say that law is a means of social control. Therefore, law should be changed and reformed with the development. And in order to avoid all the confusions and loopholes, clear law should be made and amendment should be made to the ambiguous terms in the present laws. This piece of work may further add up to the literature, and it may further help the researchers to study more on the subject. These are the references which I have referred. Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation.